Background: when I was 24, I got pregnant by a less than worthy man. He wanted nothing to do with it and did some pretty crappy things to try to hurt me before he cut contact. I kept the baby because I was confident the guy wouldn't be coming back. It was a difficult decision. I lost my job while pregnant and then my apartment. My parents saved me 100 times over. They got me a new place, furnished it, and paid for everything we needed for almost 3 years. I hated that I was living off my parents. Independence is really important to me. So I took up a hobby that I had when I was younger, thinking I could make a little money on the side by selling it. Maybe enough to pay rent. I worked when my baby was asleep, sometimes all night. I tried to work a minimum of 6 hours a night on it. It was exhausting. I refused to spend any less time with my baby during the day, and he was, and is, a very, very active child. But I kept going. My project started selling a bit on my online store. I talked to a business around the corner, and they agreed to start selling my projects in their store. I worked my butt off marketing my stuff online, bringing baby with me to stores to pitch my products, buying a booth at farmers markets and festivals, traveling across the country to sell my work, etc. It's paid off today. I made over $300K last year. I have 5 employees, and I have 2 stores open. I've paid my parents back for all their help, and then some. My baby has a college fund. He's happy, well-adjusted, very smart, very charismatic and popular. I've never ever regretted having him. My sister is a B. It started pretty mild, attacking me when I decided to become a single mother. You're ruining your life. Your kid is going to be a ducking loser. You're never going to be anything but a welfare mother, etc. Nothing I hadn't heard before. She blew up at my parents for helping me. She said they were rewarding me for being stupid and irresponsible. Keep in mind, their helping me did not affect her in any way. My baby's first Christmas, I wasn't able to buy any gifts. Sister laughed and told my year-old son to get used to that. You're in for a lifetime of it. She's always said ducked up cruel crap to him, but in a cutest way. What a cute little bastard. Auntie gonna get you a tiny orange jumpsuit, janitor kit, lawnmower. We don't see her except at family holidays because of this. Today, she has a degree in engineering, is married to a doctor, and they have 4 children in a big house. Collectively, they have $400K in student loans. She's never let up on the snark. When I started to become fairly successful, she was careful to tell me how much more I could have achieved if I had just gotten an A. She's tried to teach her children that my son is a bastard and is therefore inferior, but they all play together anyways because he's so chill. The explosion. Family reunion was in Vegas last month. My sister got extremely drunk and caused a huge scene. She finally let me have it. I was pathetic, probably didn't know who the father of my child was. She had gotten 3 A's and was proud of herself. I didn't deserve happiness because I was an idiot. She told my son that he had ruined my life, that I could have been anything if I had gotten rid of him. We left and came back the next morning. My parents are furious with her. She refused to apologize, even to my son. She went on to say I should close my stores, stop my business, and pull my son from his private school because I was perpetuating a dangerous image that single mothers can be successful. That she had gone to school and struggled with debt, and there was no reason that I should be so lucky to not have to deal with any of that. We left. I explained to my son that my pregnancy was an accident, but that I had given birth to him on purpose, and that I never regretted having him. He was the reason I stopped drinking and got my stuff together. We do not need a husband or a father to make our life worth living. The whole thing upset me far more than it did him. He ended up comforting me in the end, and saying he was proud of me. I couldn't possibly love this boy more. The issue. My parents are still angry with my sister, but they just want us to get together as per usual in July. I don't want to, but my parents are begging me. I can't say no to them after everything they've done for me and my kid. You can say no to them. In fact, you must say no to them for the sake of your own child. Continuing to expose him to this verbal abuse would be absolutely terrible. And while I understand that your parents are basically in denial, they are going to have to accept reality at some point. So, yeah. Duck your sister. Your parents should understand by now how non-existent your relationship is with your sister. There is no reason to force it. You and your son don't need to be subjected to that toxic jerk. If they truly cared, they'd understand why you don't want to go to the party. And besides, do you really want to see how far she can push you until you snap in front of your son? My sister and I have the same mom, female 46, but no one knows who my real father is. It's possible that it's her dad, but we aren't sure. To him, I'm just a reminder that his ex-wife cheated a long time ago. I've never met or talked to him, but he's made it clear to other family members that he doesn't want me there. My sister and mother both insist they want me there, but are worried he will start drama if I show up. But they say he's a narcissist. I don't want to take any attention away from my sister by stirring up drama, but I also really want to go, and the bride wants me to go too. What the bride says goes, right? To make this even more complicated, I was adopted as a baby, so I've never actually met my little sister. But we've been talking through social media for around 5 years now, since I reconnected with them. I realize it'd probably be better if we could meet sooner, before the wedding, but it's just never worked out. I live really far away from them, and until now, and we all figured 5 years was long enough, and a wedding is something I don't want to miss out on. We talked about her father knowing I'll be there, but agreeing to not let any drama happen, but my mother and sister don't think he's mature enough to handle that. He's well known for stirring up drama for attention. Mother's words, not mine. I'm still going on the trip, but should I skip the wedding? He doesn't know what I look like. My mother suggested going and him not knowing, but there's always that chance he'll recognize me since I look really similar to my sister, and it's a pretty small wedding. If I do go, how do I avoid any potential conflicts? What should I do if a conflict arises? Please go. Your half-sister shouldn't be punished for something her dad may or may not do. That said, when you tell her you're going, please go, by the way. Suggest that she hire someone to keep the peace. If dad goes off the rails, a bouncer can kick him out. She should also talk to him and tell him that when you're at the wedding, he needs to be on his best behavior or she won't hesitate to get rid of him. Update. It was really amazing to finally meet my birth mother and my 2 sisters. I had a really great time with them, and I've already booked a trip to go back later this year. Before I get into it, just to clarify something that caused some confusion in the original post. I'm the middle child and was put up for adoption because of major marital and financial problems, and I was conceived during an affair. No one knew who my father was, and both men refused DNA testing. Fast forward a few years after my adoption, and they kinda made things work and had a 3rd child. Then problems happened again and they divorced. My birth mother and I did talk a lot about why I was adopted, and with all the details she gave me, it's clear that it was the right choice. This was discussed a bit in the comments, so I just thought I would clarify in case any of you missed that. Okay, now that I explained that a little better, I did go to the wedding. I met my birth family the day before and it went great. My sisters talked to their dad ahead of time and told him I would be attending and told him to be civil. The venue had security ready to throw him out if anything bad happened. To everyone's surprise, he asked to meet me when I arrived the night before the wedding. My mother had picked me up from the airport and took me to her place. Trying to keep the peace, I agreed to meet him and chat after I had settled in. I was definitely nervous. I met him at the same time as I met my 2 sisters. The 3 of them and a few other people all came in together after having dinner. I was a little overwhelmed by meeting so many relatives at once, so I kinda just answered questions and took it all in. It's a really weird experience to meet your family for the first time at age 23. Anyway, he was very civil and seemed to show an interest in getting to know me. After maybe an hour, he left, and those of us staying at my mother's place settled in for the night. The wedding went just fine, no conflicts. I met a ton of family members. I felt kinda bad because I met too many to remember all their names and how we're related. Everyone was pretty happy to finally meet me. I didn't feel like I stole any of my sister's spotlight, which was one of my concerns about attending. I didn't feel alone at the wedding either, even though I didn't know many people. Everyone was just very welcoming and eager to chat with me. I had about a week to visit, so I spent some more time getting to know my sister's dad after the wedding. He asked if I wanted to go sightseeing with him and my other sister, and I agreed. I had a good time. I still am not sure what changed with him. He used to not want to see pictures of me. My adopted parents sent letters and pictures to my birth mother. He would only occasionally look at them to compare my face to the man she had the affair with. A few times, he even tore up the letters and pictures out of anger. So I grew up thinking he hated my guts. But then all of a sudden, he's trying to be a part of my life. I'm still trying to figure that out. Everyone who knows him tells me he has an undiagnosed narcissistic personality disorder. So I've been doing some research on that, trying to understand it, and him, better. My mother and sisters advised me to proceed with caution, and I am. The only conflict that happened during the trip was when he tried reaching out to the man my mother had the affair with. I did not ask him to do that. I don't know exactly what all happened, but from what I gathered, he called him or went to their house, possibly while drunk, and confronted him about the affair and said I was back in town. He also told the guy's wife and kids about me. I don't think the kids knew I existed. I mean, why would they? After that, one of the guy's sons reached out to me in confusion. Kind of a, hey, are we half-brothers type of thing. The possible half-brother was nice about it and said if I had questions about his dad, to feel free and ask him. His dad, a fair guy, had no interest in meeting me and said he wanted nothing to do with any of us. So that was all pretty weird. This is the type of drama I wanted to avoid at the wedding, and according to my sisters, their dad is famous for stirring up drama like that. Before my visit ended, he agreed to finally have a DNA test done. He had refused to have the test done in the past. I don't know why he changed his mind. I guess he wanted to know after all this time of wondering. The whole time I was there, he was very accepting of the fact that there's a good chance he is my biological father and wanted to know for sure. He claimed before the test was taken that the results wouldn't change anything for him, and he would want to be a part of my life either way. So we got one of those swab kits at the drugstore and sent the samples to the lab. The results didn't come until about 3 weeks later, after I had been home for what seemed like forever. I had accepted never knowing who my biological father was a long time ago, but that was when I assumed I'd never have the chance to know. Once those samples had been sent in, I couldn't wait to know. Well, the results came in, and it turns out he is my biological father. The results didn't change anything between my mother, sister, and I. Of course, now that means they're not my half-siblings. Our biological father actually seemed pretty excited about it. They're all excited for my next visit, and I guess we'll see how things are in person now that we all know. I am still being a little cautious about the whole narcissist personality thing. Background. My dad, 59, has never been a good dad. Even when my parents were together, he was always absent, or so strict he was scary. He was emotionally and manipulative to my mom, 52, who is the kindest person you will ever meet. A couple of background stories. After they divorced, because he left her for a family friend who was also married at the time, my mom met another man, who lived 2 states away, the brother of a friend. My mom got pregnant and decided to move us 2 away. As they were still finalizing the divorce, she asked my dad for permission. He agreed. Then, as soon as we all had arrived in our new city, he told her that he would sue her for custody, as she wasn't supposed to move us, unless she agreed in their divorce proceedings that he would pay a reduced child support payment. My dad was well-to-do, and my mom was pregnant, very unwell, and raising 3 of his daughters, 7 and under. He has twice in my 27-year life called me on my actual birthday, and only after my mom or sister reminded him. Fast forward a couple of years, and he decides to have more kids with his then 50-year-old third wife. He was mid-40s. 3 children, and 8 years later, he then decides to leave her and marry his 4th wife. Throughout my childhood, I basically only had one parent, and all I can remember from my parents being together is my dad and manipulating my mom, abandoning his children, and then replacing them with a new family. I then had a 6-year relationship with an partner, and now that I'm older and out of that relationship, I draw a lot of parallels to the relationship of my parents. As a result, my respect for him is greatly diminished. How can I love someone who made my mother feel the way my ex made me feel? Current day. My dad is 59, his wife is 42. My sisters are 29, 26, 14, and 12-year-old twins. He had announced that his newest wife is now pregnant. They've been actively trying for quite a while, even though he's almost 60 with 6 children. He doesn't have relationships with from other marriages. When he talks about the new baby, he says, well, wife wanted one. So he doesn't even really want this child. I'm feeling really angry that he would make such a stupid, selfish decision. I feel like it's mine and my sister's turn to start having our children. He will be almost 70 when this kid starts school, 80 at its 21st birthday. I feel angry, hurt, and betrayed. I feel like this is the end of my relationship with him. I guess I'm asking for advice. Am I being dramatic and selfish myself? Does sharing family ties mean that he should be entitled to infinite free passes to hurt me? Am I justified in not wanting a relationship with him? Note: I'm very happy for my stepmother. This is her first marriage and first child, and she's always wanted a baby. I wish nothing bad on her and hope she has a healthy, happy baby and easy, problem-free pregnancy. Yes, you can be mad. A parent should never have a child they are planning on neglecting, let alone your half-sibling, especially when there is living proof of their impending neglect in their last 3 homes. What he decides to do has no bearing on you. You don't have a relationship with him. Yeah, he's probably going to be a lousy father all over again, but that's not your problem.